Hey there, I'm Amy Hardesty, and I'm your holistic nutritionist. And I wanted to take a few minutes to walk you through my welcome intake packet to show you how to log your food in our accountability platform and walk you through how to read your meal plan. So settle in, grab a cup of coffee or your water bottle, and join me for 10 or 12 minutes while we walk through all the good things that you need to know. So this is our welcome packet, and I'll let you read this first page when you have time, but it just goes over who I am and how I came to do the job that I do. I want to talk definitely right out of the gate about intolerance testing. So I do offer food intolerance evaluations, and we do this through an outside source, and I can give you a link and a discount code. Basically, you do the test, send it back to them, and they email you your results. This is a great tool later on down the road. I don't usually recommend it right out of the gate unless you're really wanting to do it. And the reason is we are initially going to pull out all the pro-inflammatory foods that are common. And when we do that, we're going to be able to see how your body's responding to other foods. Now, food intolerances can cause everything from headaches to fatigue to gut dysfunction to weight loss resistance, all sorts of issues. And so when we initially pull all the pro-inflammatory foods out of your diet, if you're still experiencing issues, that's when this food intolerance test becomes helpful. So it's not something you need to really consider right out of the gate, and just unless you're just chomping at the bit to do it. But I would say read about it, learn about it, and if later on down the road we think it's necessary, I'll absolutely talk to you about it. So over here we have our frequently asked questions. I do ask everyone to weigh in 1 day a week. And so typically I encourage Mondays simply because that's going to give you an extra layer of accountability over the weekend. Remember, when you weigh yourself, you want to do it naked in the morning, first thing after you go to the bathroom. Try not to weigh yourself every day. I know that number on the scale can make or break your mental function that day. So the day-to-day weights, they really fluctuate greatly. So make sure that you're just checking in on yourself once a week. And I'll show you how to log that into your accountability platform. The next question, can I eat my meals out of order? Absolutely. If you want to have dinner for breakfast or lunch for a snack, that's absolutely fine with me. What I don't want you doing is swapping out days. So what I don't want to see is you going, oh gosh, my dinner that I'm supposed to have on Wednesday looks way better today. I'm going to have it on Monday. So don't move food from day to day. You can move food throughout your day, but don't move from day to day. And the reason is that your days are all balanced it's macro balance, excuse me. So if you start pulling dinners from one day and putting them in another day, you're really going to mess with that balance, and we don't want to do that. The next question, do I have to finish all my food? No, absolutely not. We are going to talk a lot about intuitive eating. So eat from your meal plan when you're hungry and stop when you're full. And we'll continue to work on that as we go through the program. If your meal plan calls for an ingredient that you don't like, you can just omit it. So if you're supposed to have tuna, which is common with a nutritional ketosis protocol, but you don't like the mustard that it calls for, just omit the mustard. If you don't like tuna and it calls for tuna, make sure you let me know. My goal is to help create a sustainable program for you. And if there are foods that you refuse to eat or don't like or whatever, we don't want to have those in your meal plan. That's not reasonable. So make sure you reach out to me if there are certain things that you're like, I really don't like that and don't want to eat it. If you experience dizziness, that's really common, especially with ketosis, because really anytime you make a major diet change, your body has to kind of rebalance itself. And so if you experience dizziness in the first couple weeks of ketosis, try drinking a cup or two of bone broth daily. That's going to help rebalance your sodium levels. If that doesn't get better, we can consider adding in things like potassium, magnesium, and calcium. Those things can become deficient during a ketogenic diet simply because your body's really using and tapping into all of its stores. So if you do take a blood pressure medication, make sure you reach out to your doctor if you experience dizziness or anytime you're uncomfortable with anything, simply because medications oftentimes have to be rebalanced, especially in the first couple months of ketosis. My goal for you is to drink 100 ounces of water every day. I know that sounds like a lot, but I promise you it's worth it. Water detoxes your liver, it shrinks your fat cells, it really helps flush everything out of your system. So the more the better, right? You don't need to drown yourself in it, but certainly if you can get 100 ounces of water a day, and you're going to be feeling really good. Now, that being said, for some of you who aren't water drinkers right now, you might need to build up to that, and that's totally fine. Do I have to exercise? Yes, you do. But when? So ideally, when you're doing any kind of diet or, putting yourself in a caloric deficit, that is going to be the meat and potatoes, so to speak. And so exercise is awesome, but it can't do any good for your body without, as far as weight loss goes, without being combined with food. So what we're going to do is give yourself a chance to adjust and feel confident to the changes you're making in your diet. And then we're going to start adding in exercise. That being said, if you're already in a great routine with exercise, I want you to keep doing what you're doing, and we'll build on that as we go. The next question is, do I need to log all of my meals? You do. Yep, whether they're on your plan or not. Anytime you eat anything, I'd like you to go through the quick process of putting the food into better. And the reason being, if you suddenly aren't, losing weight, or you're struggling to lose weight, and I go back through your meal journal and I don't see anything strange, I'm going to think, wow, what am I doing wrong? How do we correct this? But if you're not losing weight and maybe you're adding, too much of one thing or not enough of another, I'll be able to see that in your food journal. All right, can I drink soda? No, you can't. So we really prefer you stick to pure water or herbal tea. LaCroix is totally fine. Bubbly water, those things are absolutely all right with me. If you can't make it to an appointment, make sure that you let me know. The 1 month check-ins are absolutely critical to your time with me. It helps me to check in and see how you're doing, even if you are not doing well. I should even say, especially if you're not doing well, please don't cancel your appointment. Let's get together. Let's talk. Let's reevaluate. You don't have to try to problem solve all of these things on your own. So I'd really like you to make sure that you check in with me and don't cancel your appointments unless it's absolutely necessary. Okay, so the next question is, can I eat out? Yes, totally. That's part of real life. So basically, if you are going out to eat, what I want you to do is check in with me first. I'm sorry about that. And so check in with me first. If you aren't sure what to eat when you go out, because it can be a hard adjustment with ketosis, just reach out to me and absolutely we can help you figure out the best thing to eat while you're in ketosis. Things to know when you're in keto. Okay, this is really important. So there's a couple of things you're going to want to do. The first thing is you're going to want to get keto strips. I know it says checkout at available at checkout. I don't have them here. I apologize. What you can do, get them on, you can go to any like pharmacy, Fred Meyer's, Walgreens, any of those, and ask them for the ketogenic strips or their pee strips. So you just pee on them every single evening. And that's what I want you to do with this once you get started in the program. So from the very first night you start ketosis, I want you to pee on these keto strips every night. What they're going to do is they're going to begin to turn a dark color at the more that you get into ketosis. Your body will start spilling ketones, and that's what's going to cause the strips to change color. So for the first month, I want you to make sure that you are checking your ketones by peeing on these strips every night. You can message me and better a picture of the pee strip, or you can just tell me what color it is, but I definitely want to know because I want to make sure that we're getting you into ketosis. Number two, if you are missing cheese, you can totally add 1 to 2 teaspoons of cheese per meal and 1 to 2 tablespoons of cheese per meal. That's completely fine with me. The keto flu is an absolutely real thing, and it totally is a bummer. So listen, usually somewhere between day 3 and 5, you start to get this detox. Your liver's like, oh, we're doing this. And it starts to shed all the toxins. It's a pretty crummy feeling. It does feel like the flu. Most people experience like a car sick feeling, diarrhea. I've never had anyone actually vomit. So it just feels like run down. Some people get a horrible case of it. Some people just get a minimal case of it. But once it's over, you're going to feel great while you're in ketosis. So also remember, everyone loses weight in ketosis at different rates. It depends on your insulin levels and your metabolic health. So this is not a faster way to lose weight, but it's a very sustainable and focused way to lose weight. So as far as substituting goes, listen, I know this is life. Real things happen. Plans change. I get it. If you get tired of water, you can have more of it. That's my rule. And with animal proteins, you can substitute an animal protein with any other animal protein. So if it calls for chicken one night and you'd rather have steak, that's totally fine in ketosis. If it calls for steak one night and you'd rather have salmon, that's totally fine. Any other questions about substituting, please just ask me. Up over here, so Better is a completely HIPAA compliant platform, and that's the app that you're going to be using for charting your food. It's completely private. Anything you say and do is just between the two of us. It's an integral part of working with me. So by this point, you've probably already filled out your Better thing, but if you ever get kicked out and have to restart the whole process, this is how you're going to do it. And then referrals, referrals are the greatest form of flattery. So anytime that you refer anyone to us, I do take $10 off of your next appointment. And the best ways to get a hold of me, again, Better is HIPAA compliant. I only check that when I'm in the privacy of my own home. So there's no way anybody else can see your name on a screen or anything like that. Email's not HIPAA compliant, but you can absolutely email me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You're welcome to call my cell phone here or send me a carrier pigeon. So that is your welcome packet. And next I want to show you how to log your food. So what I'm showing you right here is our Better app. And so this is this is actually the desktop version, which you can absolutely utilize. It looks pretty similar to what the app looks like. But here we go. So anytime that you eat anything, you're going to go ahead and hit this plus button. There we go. And then you're going to click on the button that says log food. So in here, you can, if you go to Applebee's, you can type in Applebee's and it'll pull up everything there. But basically what we're going to do is have you do add an entry. And it should actually usually default to add entry. So you'll click add a freeform entry. And this is where you tell it what and how much you ate. Now you can, if you need to change the date or you want to add the time, that's totally fine. The meal time, it automatically sets it for kind of what time of day it is. So it's 4 o'clock, it's saying it's a mid-afternoon snack. So in describe what you ate, you just tell it what and how much you ate. So let's say that I had a quarter cup of pistachios. That's probably a bad one. I don't really know how to spell that. And then what else could I have had? And then 2 ounces of cheddar cheese. Okay, so we have that. As you can see, it goes ahead and pulls up all of the macros, so the calories, carbs, fat, fiber, and protein for what you're putting in here. And let's just say for fun that I ate 12 tablespoons of butter. There you go. So once you see that information loading, you're just going to click the button here that says use data. And that shows you right here, it already shows you exactly what you ate. And as you scroll down, you'll see that meal was 1,625 calories, 20 grams of protein, 10 grams of carbohydrates, and 171 whopping grams of fat. And then it gives you the percentage breakdown. So that's what you'll do and hit save. If you want to upload a photograph, you absolutely can on the app. You can take a picture right from your phone and it's pretty handy. So you're welcome to do all of that as well. So once you see that, this macro information in here, you're going to go ahead and click save. And what you'll see over here is it's tallying up all of your food as you go through the day. So if I were to add a lunch entry in, and I said 1 can of tuna, 2 tablespoons of mayo. Okay, so we see that, and I'm going to say, yep, use that data. Awesome, there it is, save it. What you're going to see over here, as soon as my internet kicks up and saves that, there we go, is you're going to see all of that change. So it's continuing to add as you put things in. Please note on the app, this nutritional targets and totals are going to be at the very bottom of the screen. So that's the primary way that you're going to log your food. Now, to get back to your home screen, you'll just click the word better. Even on the app, that's how you do it. You'll see over here any upcoming sessions that you have will show up right here. This kind of gives you a snapshot of what you've been doing and any pending tasks over here on the right. So if I need you to take body measurements or need you to order some kind of blood test or anything like that, that'll all be over here. Now, the next thing that you're going to do here, you're going to click the plus button and then you're going to click log and lifestyle entry. This is super important. So here is where you can connect your Fitbit in the settings. But if you don't have a Fitbit, we're not set up to connect with Apple Watch quite yet. But you could just say, I ran for 15 minutes. Okay. So it's going to auto calculate, right? 15 minutes. You burned about 172 calories. Awesome. Go ahead and save that bad boy. That's going to show up as well for me to look at. So should show up down here. There we go. It shows up as an activity. Other things that I'd like you to do inside log a lifestyle entry, your measurements. So this is where you'll log your weight every single week. You can click add a measurement. Now I'm going to, in the email I send you, it'll have a link to a body mass scale that I really like. It's like $29 and it does measure everything as far as your BMI, your body fat, your, not those things. Let's see. So it does log body fat percentage and BMI. It does a whole lot of other things like muscle mass, visceral fat. It assigns you a body age, all of those things. But the BMI and the body fat percentage, you can log in here. And I'm also going to have you measure. So everything from your neck to your calves, anything that has a circumference to it, you're going to measure it, and you can put that in here. If that's daunting, you can send me those measurements and I'll be glad to put them in for you. Next is mood. If you are someone who needs to be able to chart your mood, I find that for a lot of people, this is helpful because what happens is, a month or two from now when they're like, gosh, I don't know if I feel better, you can look back to the beginning of your time or partway through your time with me and see how your moods have changed overall. So that's super beneficial if you choose to take advantage of it. The poop journal. This is one that I really need you to do. And I know it can be embarrassing, but our poop is like a very, very good identifier of what our body is doing. And everything is really just linked to our gut health. So anytime you poop, I want you to take this to go ahead and fill this out. I had a bowel movement. A satisfying bowel movement would be one that feels like you really emptied out your gut, that you didn't leave feeling like, oh, I didn't get it all. So you can click on here and select a time. You can click here to select the consistency. This is really important. And color. Color and consistency are super important when it comes to identifying what's going on inside your gut. If sleep's an issue for you and you want to track it, you can absolutely do it right here. And then any other notes that you want to leave me. And you can log your water right here as well. So that's super helpful. Sorry, my cat just came in. So all of these things are super beneficial. Logging your food is incredibly important and valuable for both of us. I check all of the food and mood journals every morning for the day before. Oh my goodness, loud kitty. I check all of the food and mood journals for the day, like every morning for the day before. And I do comment on everything that I see. So if it looks like you fell into a vat of birthday cake, I'm going to say, hey, my goodness, what happened here? Was this intentional? Was it, did you just get carried away? What happened? So I really am paying attention. And what I find is this logging, this intentionality is really where people find their success, is having that level of accountability. So there's a lot of other things that Better does. So feel free to hop on here and mess around with it, really get used to it, dig in deep and see how it can benefit you. So the last thing I want to show you is how to read your meal plan. This is the week 1 and 2 Nutritional Ketosis meal plan, and it's going to be very basic and very repetitive, and that is by design. What I want is to really get a baseline for how your body is going to respond to ketosis. If your body does not respond well to these first 4 weeks of ketosis, it's probably not going to do well with this. So we really want to get a good idea of what's going on here. So just buckle down, hang in there for the first month, and you'll be really glad that you did. So let me pull this up here. There we go. So this is what it's going to look like. That's your cover page. This page over here gives you a very basic breakdown of what every day looks like. So it shows you here in this column. Monday. So this is what I'm talking about. If you wanted to take this dinner and eat it up here for breakfast, totally fine. You want this snack for dinner, totally fine. What I don't want you doing is pulling this lunch and putting it in this day. So we stay in our day. Stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. This gives you a breakdown for what your macros look like. Your calories, carbs, fat, fiber, and protein show up over here. And then this page here on the left, this is your grocery list. Now, this grocery list is for 1 week for one person. So if you have a spouse in your house who's doing this with you, you're going to want to double up on it. And that's really important. So a couple things I want to point out. Right here, you're going to see the word organic in a lot of things. If you can buy organic if that is important to you. It doesn't always work into everyone's budget. That's okay. That's not a make it or break it part of doing ketosis. That's just kind of naturally how my program, how the meal planning software I use is geared. So same thing over here, organic bacon. Listen, bacon is delicious. If you can get organic bacon, get it from like a local farmer, holy moly, totally a game changer. If you get it from the store, it's great. It's great. What you'll see here, and I'll go over this again in a second, New York strip, red meat is red meat is red meat in nutritional ketosis. So all good. I'll explain that a little bit more. So this is your weekly meal, your weekly grocery list. And then next we're going to get into your recipes. So here's breakfast. Here's your bulletproof coffee. I do want to explain the bulletproof coffee. You can use any kind of tea if you're not a coffee drinker. You can use decaf coffee if you want to drink decaf. What's really important about this, again, organic is not important, is that you're going to do a cup of coffee with a tablespoon of butter. And when I say a cup, it doesn't have to be 8 ounces. I do like 12 or 16 ounces. You're going to do a tablespoon of butter, 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and a tablespoon of coconut oil. If you don't like the sweet of the coconut oil, you can use MCT oil. But MCT oil also can cause loose stools, so if that's an issue, go back to the coconut oil. If you are dairy-free, you can do ghee in place of the butter, and then you can do Ripple, which is the plant-based alternative for heavy cream, or you can do just canned coconut cream. That's fine as well. When you put all these into your coffee, you want to blend it, whether it's with an immersion blender or in a bullet, you want to blend it. If you don't blend it, you're going to get a layer of oil and a layer of coffee. If you do blend it, it legitimately looks like this glorious cup of frothy deliciousness right there. The first day, you're going to have tuna for lunch. It's super simple. It's a super simple recipe. If you want this tuna fish every day for lunch, that is the only exception to my not switching meals. You can have tuna every day if you would like. Okay, so let me go back over here. What you'll see up here is it tells you how many ingredients, how long it should take you to make, and how many servings. The servings are really important that you pay attention to that, and you'll see why over here. Dinner always makes leftovers for the next day. So this is dinner. Steak and broccoli, that's a dinner. So you're going to see it's 2 servings. So what you'll see down here, you're going to eat half of that. So instead of 7 ounces, you're going to eat 3.5 ounces. Instead of 2 cups, you're going to eat 1 cup. And so basically what I do, I make this entire recipe and then, I make this entire recipe and then I split it in half and I put half in a container for lunch the next day and I eat half for dinner. Now, remember, the red meat, it can be any kind of red meat. It can be pork, it can be ribs, it can be ground meat, it can be any kind of red meat that you want. So I mean, New York strip would get expensive if you ate that every night. And then broccoli, any green vegetable. So totally fine. If you have any questions about any of that, you can just let me know. But everyone would get sick of broccoli really quickly. So any green vegetable is fine. So then salami and olives, any kind of olives. Costco carries a really delicious jalapeno and garlic olive, green olive, that's delicious. Black olives are fine, whatever you choose there. So again, same with this dinner. It's making 2 servings, okay? And then green beans show up periodically. So you'll see. Just go through, pay close attention to this. These foods, I know it sounds counterproductive, counterintuitive, but these foods really do help get your body into a state of ketosis. If you think about your body like a fire, if you crumple up newspaper and throw it into the fire, it's going to burn through it really quickly. That's what our bodies do with carbohydrates. We eat them, we use them, our body gets hungry because we've burned through all of our energy, so we eat more carbohydrates. Once we become good at burning fat, which again is after that like 3 to 5 day mark, your body is going to be more like putting a log on the fire. It burns, it's more sustainable, it doesn't need a ton of attention, so you're not going to feel hungry very often. But it's going to be using your fat stores because our bodies are smart. So when it runs through the fat that you fed it, it goes, oh, I recognize that source, and it begins to tap into our fat stores. So that's how ketosis works. That is why this program is inverted as far as fat and carbohydrates goes from what we're typically used to. So welcome. I'm super excited to have you here. You now know, you've read your welcome packet, you have learned how to read your meal plan, and you understand how to log your food in better. Inside of Better, one other thing I do want to show you on your homepage, you're going to see, oh, it's not up here. Darn it. Okay, so, there it is, the topic library. So inside the topic library, there also is a link on how to use Better and how to read your meal plan. And they're broken down individually, so it's not such a big, long video, but they're in there separately if you need to access that. Again, I'm here for you, so feel free to reach out. If you have to, message me 500 times in a week, it's absolutely fine. That's what I'm here for. You're not alone in this. So I'm excited for you. You're going to do great, and I'll be with you every step of the way.